Hi there, my name is Donna Wright, President and CEO of the Greater Eureka Chamber of Commerce. We're excited to welcome you to Eureka Chamber's podcast. Our interviewer and host is our very own Sierra Spear-Dillon. In this series, she'll speak with local businesses, organisations and community leaders that will share relevant information that affects local businesses. These podcasts will be resources for the viewer and an opportunity for the guest. We encourage you to engage with us and let us know your ideas for speakers and topics, or if you'd like to be a speaker yourself. For now, here is Sierra with Let's Talk HumCo-Biz.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Eureka Chambers podcast, Let's Talk HumCo-Biz. I'm your host, Sierra Spear-Dillon, and today I'm here with Shelley Nilsen of Express Employment Professionals. She is the owner, and we are here today to talk a little bit about current employment trends and what's going on out there. So I'll welcome Shelley.
Thanks for having me in.
So first, tell us a little bit about what kind of services does Express offer? Can you tell people about that might not know?
Absolutely. So Express is a staffing agency. We provide a resource for businesses to help them find people. It could be short-term assignments, long-term assignments. We do everything from executive directors down to day laborers. We do healthcare, a lot of stuff in between. And then we're a resource for people who are looking for jobs. So we kind of play that matchmaker role.
And then how long have you been the owner over there, and what is your experience with this kind of staffing?
So I've been the owner for 7 years. Prior to that, my background is actually social work. I have a master's degree in social work and worked at Health and Human Services, running children's mental health and part of child welfare. And prior to that was developmental disabilities, running an agency when I lived out of state. So It was an interesting transition from nonprofit to government to back into the for-profit sector. It's been a lot of fun.
Wow. Okay, so first, can you just tell us what are the current employment trends you're seeing in Eureka and Humboldt County at Express? Like, what do you think is going on out there?
There are so many jobs out there. If you want to work right now, there are jobs out there. So it might be a little different than something you've done in the past. It might be a great opportunity to try out something new that you've been wanting to try. If you're open to a new job right now, there's work out there. We've been seeing wages push up to try to get people in the door. We're still seeing a fair number of jobs that drug screen, and that's a barrier for some of them, but they're safety-sensitive positions, and if our client asks us to drug screen for a safety-sensitive position, the research and data show that certain positions are definitely better off when you're not on something of any kind. So we're seeing an increase in people who can't pass a drug test, particularly for pot, and that is an issue for certain positions.
Right. So why do you believe that there are so many recent job openings? You said, there's so many jobs out there, a wide variety of jobs. What do you think is kind of the factors behind all these job openings?
Okay, so it's already been hard to recruit. Like before COVID hit, it was already really hard to recruit. Last year, we're having a harder time this year finding candidates than we were last year, and I'm hearing that from businesses that we work with all over. We've got more open jobs than we had before COVID ever hit. And the reasons I think that that's the case are, one, part of the workforce is still home with their kids. We lost a lot of childcare resources during COVID. Schools haven't been open full time, and so the childcare resources have been keeping kids at home and therefore parents at home, making sure that their kids are doing school and that they're cared for. That is disproportionately impacting women, and particularly women of color. And a lot of those lower income types of positions, maybe service industry, things that can't be done by remote work. So right. That's had a huge impact. There's still fear. We're still seeing people who are afraid to go back to work. Maybe they have a severe health issue that could be an issue. That's starting to abate some with the vaccinations rolling out really widely. But fear is still something that we're seeing. And then, to be honest, I had a few people tell us as soon as this latest round of stimulus checks and unemployment rolled out, oh, I'm not going to need to work for the next 6 months, so I'll call you back in September. And it's a bit disappointing to be just blatantly told that.
And so going back to kind of at the beginning, not being able to find the candidates, is it because the candidates aren't applying, or is it because they're not qualified, or both?
So there are definitely jobs out there for a really wide variety of skill sets. And we're working with businesses to be a little bit more open about what might be a good fit, what transferable skills somebody might bring, so that maybe they can be more flexible on the business side and help make that match a little bit better. But we're still seeing people who maybe don't meet the criteria because they're, I mentioned the drug screen is an issue still, depending on the position. Most of our medical placements, for example, require that. And so that's something that gets in the way. And then safety sensitive positions, of course. So that's a barrier. One of the barriers we see is employers needing full-time people and people having part-time availability, whether it's their own school schedule or their kids' school schedule or something like that. So availability is an issue. Transportation is sometimes an issue. In Humboldt County, our bus line is not spectacular. If you are getting a job out on the peninsula or south of Eureka or even further out, the bus line, depending on the time of day, may or may not be available for you to be able to get to work. Right. Or it might take you an hour or 2 hours to get there. So those are some of the things that we see that are challenges for matching people with positions and barriers that employers might face as well.
So when you're speaking with employers and they may be having some challenges finding the right people, do you suggest to them maybe be more flexible because this is a great candidate, but they have to take their kid to school and pick them up from school?
Yes.
Does it seem like employers are, for the most part, willing to, adapt to,
right.
To changing things?
It really depends on the position. In many cases, yes, they can absolutely do that, and they do. If you have a position that starts at 5 a.m, taking your kiddo to school at 8 is the middle of the day. So that kind of thing doesn't work very well. But if you're talking an 8 to 5 job, then most employers are pretty flexible with that, unless there's you're holding up the whole team from being able to accomplish something that's a team process. Most people are pretty adaptable to that. What we're working with now is, okay, we've got somebody who's got availability every day except for this time of day on 1 or 2 days a week. Are you willing to work with that? Can you work with more like a 32-hour person or 35-hour person to allow some flexibility for this person who has the one class that is in the middle of the afternoon and not on demand?
Right.
So, yeah. Some people are able to do that and some people are not. We are seeing a little bit more flexibility in that.
And do you think overall, just because, Eureka, for example, our population isn't that big, so does that have, do you think, an effect? More jobs are opening, but there's just also maybe not enough people?
There really aren't. And actually the data has been showing worldwide that there's not enough workers for the number of jobs, and that's projected to go out for like another decade at least, just basic population-wise. This is why you're seeing more automation. This is why, we just saw in a San Francisco airport a coffee kiosk where the coffee was being made by a robot. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen because there are literally not enough bodies to go around to fill the jobs. And so we are going to see more and more automation. We've been seeing it for years. It's just subtle. Your mobile ordering apps, for example. That's somebody who doesn't have to stand at a counter and take an order.
Exactly. So what industries in particular are having hiring challenges? Is there certain industries, or what are you seeing?
It's all of them.
Everyone.
We have some really amazing access to data. I was hoping to pull it up, but I'll see if I can get you some charts on that. But we have some really amazing data that we can look at and tell us what is currently hiring. What are the actual active, unique job orders or job postings that have been up and available in the last 30 days? And we can look at that year over year. Healthcare, so if you want to go to career exploration, anything in healthcare, whether you
Oh,
want
I know.
to do,
I always see that online.
Right?
It's just a never-ending list.
Every kind of nursing, from
Yes.
ground level all the way up to higher specialties, all the different technician kind of positions within the medical field, even the administrative positions. If you want to go and advance your administrative career, look at going into medical healthcare administration or something like that, because there's so much possibility within that, and it's transferable. So you can use it, in one place, but you can take it with you if you end up going somewhere else. Please don't go somewhere else. We want you here.
Yeah.
So it also means we can import it if we don't have enough of it here. So if you have, kids that you're hoping to draw back to the area someday, great skill to go into.
And healthcare is not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. Totally not going into. Another one that we're seeing a lot of, there's huge demand for Class A drivers. That's actually the one that I was looking at, our data source, and it looks like a year ago, a Class A driver was, and this is probably more long haul. I didn't break down the data to local versus long haul, but the average wage was $70,000 a year. I think that's more long haul. This year they're recruiting at 100.
Wow.
So, and I was talking with a colleague at another business who ships their product out. They export their product from Humboldt County, and they're like, we can produce our product all day long. I can get the people for that, but I can't tell you when I'm going to be able to deliver it.
Right. So with the long haul drivers and the trucking, for example, do you know whether it's a particular business or the whole industry, what are they doing to get those drivers that you know of?
Raising pay rates.
Right.
So, begging students, begging people to go into it.
Wow.
I don't honestly think there's a spectacular strategy happening to get people to go into that as a career path.
Well, somebody's got to do it until the
Somebody's
robots,
gotta do it.
until the automated
Google driving your truck
truckers.
down the road. And I'm
Yeah.
not so sure I'd want that on 101 or something like that. So there are other types of positions that I'm seeing when I look at the data, and a lot of it comes down to service workers, merchandisers, retail sales. There's a lot of jobs out there, and again, we're going back to that entry level work, and a lot of people who are most impacted by not able to do remote work, those kinds of positions, getting them back into the workforce has been a real challenge.
And are you seeing pay increases even for entry-level jobs to try to get people to do them, even though I can assume that would be really hard on small businesses, having to pay an entry-level person or a college student or high school student a higher wage, but if you can't find anyone, is that happening as well?
We are seeing wages push up, not 100% across the board, but we frequently have those conversations. We're willing to share data with a business about what are other people hiring at. So, if you're paying minimum wage, then you're going to have access to this percentage of workers who are willing to take minimum wage. And if you're paying, 15, 16, 17 an hour, depending on the position, it's going to just open the door to a greater number of applicants. And so you can think of it that way. What number of applicants are you wanting to have access to? If you're not getting your people at that bottom wage, then you have to look at pushing it up. Keep in mind that it's not just the payroll, the actual wage that pushes up. Your workers' comp is directly proportional to payroll. So for every $100 of payroll, you pay X amount of premium for workers' comp, and certain types of jobs cost a whole lot more than other kinds of jobs. And so your pay rate is not just going up $1 an hour, it's going up more like anywhere from $1.15 to $1.50, depending on your work comp code and the tax rates and things like that.
Right, so a lot to think about.
Yeah. It is definitely a burden for small businesses, any business.
Right. So what are you seeing and hearing about the current quality of local employment? Like people that do get placed in these jobs, are people happy? Or are people not wanting to go back to work because the jobs aren't that great? Or
there's some really great opportunities out there. And so we're seeing some pretty satisfied people. There's always going to be some people who aren't super happy where they're at or with who they hired, both a business or a worker. There's always going to be some level of dissatisfaction. That's why you're always going to see some job hopping. But I think businesses are getting more conscious about what it takes to keep good employees, and they're willing to look at what it takes to keep good employees. So, if you cultivate your culture in a way that's really healthy and people like it, if you have an effective sick policy that's going to, I think that's one of the things we've seen this year, sick policies are adapting. So as we now, I know I can use my office as an example, now we know how to work remotely and we have the tools to work remotely pretty effectively. We don't have the synergy that we have when we're all together in the office.
Right.
But if you're drippy and showing symptoms of something, by all means, work from home. If you want to take a sick day, great. But if you don't really feel like you need a sick day, but you've got symptoms that the rest of us don't want, work from home for a few days. Not a big deal. So we're seeing some policies adapt that way and people be a little bit more flexible. I'm seeing early morning meetings that are still happening by Zoom rather than everybody coming in Zoom, because we're not doing a lot of this in-person stuff, but not just that they're happening by Zoom, but people are still at home and they're saying, I'm going to head into the office after this call, so that creates a little more flexibility in your day, so to speak.
And another thing, going back to remote work, I know now sometimes not everyone can do, computer or digital work. However, when you go on Glassdoor or Indeed, I mean, if you're looking for something remote, there's like 50,000 jobs that pop up. So is that could be another issue too, that people are working remotely, but maybe it's a company in New York or who knows where.
Yeah. We've seen larger companies, think of the tech exodus from Silicon Valley. We've seen larger companies say, we're not going to require people to come back into the office. I've got friends who work for Amazon that haven't set foot in their office for a year, and they're still working full-time and doing great, and sometimes it's from Maui, and sometimes it's from their backyard. So, yes, those jobs are now competitive up here, which makes things really interesting. Like, there's pros and cons. It opens up income levels that maybe we didn't always see up here, which might mean that our family members who have those certain skill sets can come back or stay in this area. So that's really exciting. But it also potentially pulls workers away from our local businesses who aren't in a position. And we're talking about like different levels of position. Like the ones that are really more committed to the on-site stuff, you can't really serve a meal remotely. You can't check somebody out from a store.
You can't
remotely.
Fix the roads from your computer.
Right. So if you still want to have some brick and mortar stores in your community, keep shopping local, because those are jobs, those are people that we want to keep, and businesses that we want to keep going. But you can't do warehouse work either. So you might feel like you're doing it remotely
or driving.
Ordering from Amazon, but somebody's having to drive it to you. Somebody's having to pull it out of a warehouse. They're not doing that. There's actually a little bit more happening with robotics in that too, but they're those are in-person jobs that are happening too. They're just happening somewhere else.
Right. So what can employers do to help look for employees? Okay. They're having challenges. They're putting it online. They're putting it in the newspaper. You'll see, things at the community bulletin boards. Right. But obviously that's not enough.
So one of the things I recommend is that you really look at what you want to pay for this position and be honest up front. This position is X dollars. This is what I can afford to pay. Don't pay $1 or $2 an hour less to try somebody out. Pay what you plan on paying them at 3 months, and then keep them at that level if that's what you need. But be honest with them. I'm going to pay you more now to get you in the door, but I don't offer a raise at 30 days or 90 days or something like that. I'm going to pay you what I think I need to pay you to get you and keep you right up front. Right. So set the expectations. Set really clear expectations with the people that you're trying to hire, and be honest about it. And that requires looking very closely. I mean, I've had to push my own wages up. It requires looking very closely at your resources to see what you can afford. You want to look at your culture. What is it like? Look at working for you through somebody else's eyes. What is it like to work in this organization? Do you have work-life balance, and is it reasonable? Like, do you have clear expectations? Do people know exactly what you want? Are you allowing them to get the work done, or are you more kind of micromanaging? Do you have good training? Because you've got to have good training. If you know you have a position that's going to be higher turnover, those entry-level positions are not designed to be lifelong positions.
Right.
So if you know you have positions that are going to have turnover, what's your training process? Have you put time into your onboarding and your training process to help develop a good employee and get them off the ground quickly with the tools that they need?
Right.
Because they aren't going to be there for 5 years now. They're not going to be there for life. Certainly not going to be there for life. Average time, this is pre-COVID, I haven't seen the latest data. Average time on the job before changing jobs now is more like a year, 2 years if you have a degree. That's not that long. When we're talking about like a boomer and a silent generation that would stay for
40 years,
40 years in one career and you stay there, Gen X was more like 7 and then you get younger than us and that's the bulk of the workforce now. 1 to 2 years, unless a business is doing a really good job at helping them to continue to develop, giving them lateral opportunities. If you don't, not everybody has upward mobility opportunities.
Right,
Small
and that's a big
business
problem.
is small.
Right.
But are you providing lateral opportunities or new learning experiences that can help keep people engaged?
So what would you say the best way for employers to advertise? You spoke about being, truthful, honest, upfront, all the information, this is what it is. So what do you think if they have some money to advertise for this position? Would you say going on those online sites or going to an agency or all of the above?
I'm
or
biased.
Getting a billboard? Or
I'm biased. I'm going to say come to us.
Yeah.
We're already doing all of those things. Let us do it for you. You don't have to pay the individual subscriptions.
Right.
We've also seen an increase in social media. So we've put a significant increase internally on increasing our followers on social media and the type of information that we have. And that's paying back now. So if your business has a strong social media following, you might have some good success using social media or like Facebook jobs, things like that, to be able to do some recruiting that way. Local job boards, I think, vary depending on the type of work that people are seeking. So you might have to try a few things on. Honestly, this is where I am biased, but that does get expensive.
Right.
Slots on Indeed, oh my gosh, super expensive. Same thing with LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter. There's other tools out there. They're not cheap.
Right.
So find what looks like it's going to work best for your industry.
Okay, so to help those seeking a job, what's a good way for a job seeker to upskill themselves to get a better job? Is that a good strategy to, promise a potential employer, hey, I'm willing to, if I get the position, I'm willing to do this and this and this? Is something that you would suggest?
Absolutely. So anytime you're doing a certification, like getting a degree, that's a 2-year or 4-year commitment, right? That's a big commitment. Not everybody's able to make that in the moment, but we now have micro trainings available, very short certifications. They could be a few hours, or you could, go do a longer, months-long certificate. But anytime you're able to show that on your resume, your work history, that you've taken time to learn and add these new skills, think through what skills are relevant to the type of work that you want, and take the time to add those skills into your resume and those certifications. That just tells your employer or your potential employer that you're willing to go out and learn, and you're willing to invest in yourself.
Right.
That is really huge. And so I'm going to do a shameless pitch.
Okay.
We have been offering this program called Express Learn, which is these little micro trainings.
Yeah, I've seen that. I know you guys have tons of stuff on social media. I probably see something every single day.
It's fantastic. You don't have to go to work for us to tap this. You just have to apply. We don't necessarily have to put you to work right away, but it's free training, and we have customer service trainings. We've got how to write good, effective emails and other office communications. We've got it's safety skills for more industrial positions. I mean, there's like 80, we can do 6 or 8 hour classes in Word and Outlook and Excel. And so if you are a student who's always used Google software platforms, and most businesses use Microsoft platforms,
right,
it's doing something like that to help you make that leap from Google to Microsoft. I call Google kind of like Microsoft Lite. A lot of it looks really similar, but Microsoft's going to get more complicated, more in depth with it. And so,
way more complicated.
Right. And we will routinely tell our clients, this person is very proficient in the Google suite, but I know you're looking at the Microsoft suite, but it's super transferable. Doesn't always, we can't always talk them into it. But if you, as the worker, have a base skill set in one platform and you want to jump to the next one, there's OSHA certificates you can get. There's food safe serve certificates that you can get. A lot of these are, all of this stuff is online. So there's so many opportunities that you can tap into additional skill sets.
Okay. Resources for a job seeker. What are some other resources? Obviously things online, but maybe not everyone might not have access to having Wi-Fi and a laptop and things like that. Right. So, okay, I don't even have a computer. Now what do I do?
Right. Some of the training could be available on a phone. We see very few people now who don't have a smartphone. So if you have a smartphone and you can go sit at a coffee shop for an hour at a time or 30 minutes at a time, sipping a cup of coffee, you can do a lot of that training right there on your phone. Otherwise, I'm not 100% sure what's open in person right now. College of the Redwoods is a good resource for more entry-level types of skill sets. So it's worth checking out College of the Redwoods. Again, some of that is, right now, a lot of that is online. Next fall, hopefully that'll open up a little bit wider. The Smart Center is a resource that can help you walk through some training options. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to online right now. So that is a barrier. That is absolutely a barrier in this still semi-shutdown world where not everything is open. We don't even have our own testing and training stations open right now. Like, we're limiting time in-house for people who aren't on my staff just to limit exposure. So places that you used to go for that in-person contact are going to be a little bit more limited.
Right. So what industries do you see opening up, expanding, or preparing to expand their workforce?
Everything. So we haven't really seen an area that is not hiring right now. Like, again, healthcare, transportation, logistics, service, even hospitality is starting to open up here. And I think that's still probably one of the slower ones up here is hospitality. But I think that's because we're outdoor tourism for the most part. So I think we're going to have a pretty decent summer. I'm hoping that we're going to have a pretty decent summer in that area. So we're seeing more people hire in that area too.
Gotcha. So thank you again so much for enlightening us and getting everybody up to date on current employment trends.
Absolutely.
So we're kind of wrapping things up. What services can Express Employment professionals provide to employers and job seekers to assist them in navigating these challenges that are going on?
Okay. So we offer, first for clients, we can help you match employees. We're the matchmaker. We can help you find the people that you need. We're already doing advertising constantly, and we have people whose sole job it is to contact and screen candidates, and other people whose sole job it is to make those matches. And so we can cut out a lot of the time and trouble and expensive advertising on your own on all these different places. So that's a huge resource. We also have resources for clients. We have some leadership training resources and some resources around cultivating a culture that's healthy and a good work environment. So those are some things. We also try to offer some webinar-based trainings throughout the year, a few times a year, so that we can just kind of give back to our community. Those are all free. We don't charge for any of those resources. We charge for the matching. Like when you meet a person, that's what we're charging for. But for the training resources and things like that, we don't charge you for that. We also, for our associates then, the people who come to work for us, we have Express Learn that can help you upskill. For students or people doing career exploration, we have a system of video training called Job Genius. It's actually available on YouTube.
Cool.
I think expresspros.com/jobgenius, and that will do some career exploration. It'll help you. It's a total of an hour and a half of videos, and there's worksheets that go with it. I mean, we've done it with some high school students at some of the different local high schools. It's a great resource to do with for teachers to do with students, for students to do on their own, for parents to do with students, to help look at what kinds of jobs might be of interest and how to
Right.
prepare for those, and some soft skills kind of work.
Okay.
We have Express Learn, expresspros.com/expresslearn. That's the online training opportunities that I was telling you about, where you can do software training and customer service training and phone skills training. And some of them are 20 minutes and some of them are hours long, and you're going to come out with a micro certification on those things. We also have the industrial side of that, that's mostly around safety and in industrial settings. And so there's opportunities for a variety of people in different places to take some advantage of that. We've been partnering with Kathy Wells, our operations manager, is I think still the chair of the Business and Education Committee for the Chamber. And so we're pretty closely tied in with some of the trades programs there. We're on the Workforce Development Board. I'm on the Workforce Development Board. And so we try to find ways to partner with our community around helping people get into the workforce.
Right.
We partner with Westside Community Improvement Association, the Jefferson School, to get the guys that they're training or the people that they're training to work. So we do pathways to payday with Uplift and things like that to help people coming from different backgrounds get into the workforce. There's
super important.
A lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of people who want to help you get to work if you're not sure where to go. So reach out, and if we're not the ones to do it, we'll help connect you to somebody who can.
Right. I think that can be another thing too, is just, confidence of taking that step of who can help me. I don't know where to go for help.
Right.
I feel, that stuck situation that some people don't know how to
Right.
get out of.
One step. You have to take one step first, and that's always the hardest one. But sometimes that step might be picking up a phone and figuring out what your next step is.
Right.
So,
is there anything else that you want to add or let people know? I know you said get out there. There's lots of job opportunities.
There's so
Take the
many
first
job
step.
Opportunities. If you're an employee and a job seeker or potential job seeker, I really encourage you to develop a resume and keep it on file. And then, I still maintain a resume. I'm a business owner. I plan to retire from this business. I still maintain a resume. So when I do add a new skill, I add a new presentation that I've done or volunteer work that I'm doing, I add it to the resume so that when I do need it for a purpose, I have it available to pull, and I don't necessarily use everything on it. I pull it specific for the thing that I'm going to do next. And so I really encourage people who are job seekers or future job seekers to start that process. Make LinkedIn your resume, and you can pull stuff right off of it and add to it whenever you want.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.